As promised in the last video, that we would have an exhaust and the car would be down and ready to run. Here is your running Fiero with the custom exhaust we built. Sam will go start it up. Give it a little bit. So that is a running 87 Fiero GT with custom exhaust. Now stay tuned to see why we're not driving it. Welcome back to Temple Customs, and Sam and I are on to the next phase. Why are you standing so? What? Like a bodybuilder. Sam and I are on to the next phase of putting his car back together. Last you saw, the cradle's back in, transmission's in, the new clutch is in. I cut up the old cradle and just saved all the parts that we could possibly need, but the cradle was garbage. Actually, I was kind of surprised. Other parts I cut into were like brand new, but the parts that were mounting parts were gone. So whatever, that cradle cut up, saved anything useful possibly for the future. Unbolted these, so I have just these from both sides. So all we're gonna have to do now, since I took the ones that are on the other cradle, because these are in better condition, off, is replace the seals, slide these in, and drop them onto the ball joints, and we should be ready to roll. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change the seals out. We tried to do it yesterday, but ran into a small problem with finding a driver. So I went out and bought a driver on my way home from work today. So let's get these seals in. So yesterday we got the old seal out, and we kind of smashed it to oblivion getting it out. But you can see, like what I was talking about, this is why I decided to replace them, because of this gouging, which I think we did when we took it out, possibly, or they could have done when they put it in. Who knows? But again, we're in there. Let's replace it. So we got this one out and all cleaned up. We got brand new seals for it, well, which just makes sense. Wouldn't make sense to put in old seals. Okay, so that's cleaned up. So here's our new seal, and it's got this sealant built into it. This red you see is a sealant. The sealant comes in red, green, blue. I've seen it in a bunch of different colors. And it's an all metal seal, and you drive it in until this flange hits the case. And so I went out today on my way home and bought a seal driver that fits perfectly inside of a 2-inch piece of PVC pipe, and put a 2-inch cap on it. Hopefully I don't shatter the cap. Let's see what happens. See if we can get it to at least start. It started. We're not getting it to go in all the way. So what we're going to do is see if we can get it to come out again. Pop it out. Oh, that barely was in. Okay, see, we got the sealant peeled on one side only. So let's try this again. I just need to get it to start, because once it starts, then I can tap it in with a punch to finish it. Maybe we're starting. Maybe. Okay, so got it pretty good. It's pretty much starting to set in here. I'm just gonna come in with a punch and finish the seat. I'm only tapping on that little flange around it because that's all you want to tap on. And you can it makes a different noise when it's seated all the way. And that's it. That seal is in. And then I'm going to reach inside just so I can get a little bit of trans fluid on my finger and put it onto the actual seal. There we go. Now, for the exciting part. So right here you can see where the seal rides, and I am going to clean this up. It's kind of rough, and it's not like it was, that's been on there a long time. It's not like it's been sitting out. So I'm going to, get a little bit of a real fine sandpaper on there and just kind of polish that up a little bit. So give me a second to do that, and then we'll be back. Okay, good. So yeah, it's got a little bit of 1500 grit, and just went around it. Still a little bit of WD-40 on the paper. And that is a bazillion times better. Like I can't, those are deep. Those are actually in the, where the seal rides, we should be a ton better. Okay, that's it. Now, let's see if we can stuff this back into the car. There's a spot for this. This is actually how you control the rear toe on the car, is this rod right here. So I got a little ball, tie rod end, and it slides up, and then there's a key. It's keyed up there. But this is the part that's going to be tricky to get this all lined up without doing any damage. I got a plug in the way, hanging down here. Okay, let's try that again. This is heavier than it looks. I think the axle just popped in. I think. Oh, nope, there it is. The axle's in. And this has to go into the hole up there. Come on. Okay, I think that's close. And then there it is. That's in and that's in. That means the only thing left is to put the bolt and the nut on there. We have this bolt and nut that goes on here. Actually, 3/4 is this guy up here. So if you want to slide underneath on that board. Okay. Nut right here. Well, you need to put that. There's a little washer next to you. Yep. So is this thing in or no?
Where?
This rod. See on that flange? Nope. Other side.
This side?
Nope.
Or
see that bracket
side?
it's going into?
Yes, here.
Yes. On your side of it, there's a threaded piece and a pin.
I see there's a threaded piece.
The pin is not in below the threaded piece.
Hold on. I can't get a good look. Take this, please.
Is there a pin right there?
I went too far forward. Yeah, there is.
Is the pin through?
Yes.
Okay, look at that washer you have. It's got a hole in it. You see it?
Yeah.
And that goes on, and that little hole in the washer goes onto that pin. And let me see that nut that you have. I don't think that's the right nut. It's the lock nut. That's actually not the right nut. So use this nut, which is the right nut. going on? Not going on?
No, it's just like I think is that it? Like it's through, but how far is it supposed to go through?
Just a little bit, not far at all.
Okay.
It just locates it. Okay, here. So take this really quick and show them what's going on over there. What you've got.
So
he's got a special washer that goes on and it pins in. So the reason is now when he puts the nut on, he can bend over one of those ears and it'll keep that nut from backing off.
yeah, there's a little pin right there.
And you're gonna take that and just zip it snug. Go zip zip, and so it's tight. You don't have to go crazy with it. We're gonna put that lock washer on it. So you going the right way?
I believe so.
Oh yeah, you're pulling it up. Okay, pull it. Do it again. One more time.
Well, I am.
Yep. There you go. Done. Okay, let's go do the other side. So we're gonna go do the other side, which is gonna comprise of doing the exact same thing. Over here, we're gonna do, but we haven't pulled the seal out yet, but we're gonna pull this seal and do the exact same thing. I haven't even pulled out this. We're gonna take off this knuckle and replace it with the newer drive shaft knuckles. Those boots are pretty dry rotted. So we're just gonna pop the bolt, pop that pin, or pop that tie rod piece like we did before, and pull that out, and we should be good to go. So we'll see you in a few minutes when that's done. Both sides are back in, new seal on that side. Both of the knuckles are reinstalled. We can put the strut back in on this side, but we cannot put the strut back in on that side because I have to fix the strut tower. One of the weld studs broke free from the hat, and I'm just gonna go get a new bolt, stick it through there and weld it, because when we try to remove it, we end up cutting it, or like damaging the thread. So I'm just gonna weld a new bolt into it, then we'll be able to slide that one in. Don't have that right now. But we can put this one back in and get this side kind of how it belongs. So strut is over here. Right there. We have to find the nuts for these.
How heavy is it?
Not super heavy. This has got the longer one because that's when it goes all the way through there. Okay, strut going up. I can't see. You're gonna have to move it around.
I will.
You're probably gonna have to move it.
You go down and then forward.
You grab that.
You go
Oh,
down.
I see.
Yep. And then
You tell me when to push up.
that one's lined up.
Okay,
Turn.
put a plate and a nut on that one. Just to start it.
Like,
Yep, just real loose. Perfect.
okay.
Now what do
Turn. Now go to your right a little bit.
That's easier said than done.
Okay, go up. There we go. Okay.
Okay, now we can get a 10mm and tighten those down. 10mm on a standard ratchet will be plenty. I'm gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on these. I don't remember. Not a 10? So 12?
Maybe.
Could be a 12 or a 13, I guess. I thought they were 10s.
I think most of my cars are 10.
You sure you have a 10?
I am positive.
So yeah, just like how this one here is, I'm gonna put some anti-seize on them. Hopefully make them go in a little bit easier and not get stuck rusted in again. You good there?
Loosening or tightening?
I would tighten them.
Well, hold on. Is that right?
Loosening. Now tightening.
Well, you push the start a little bit up again?
No, you'll pull it up. Oh, you let it fall down. There you go. So you're gonna go. Well, you use the whole wrench, not just your hand.
Cool.
You can put your other hand up here. No. On top and pull. Mosquitoes. Yeah, let's go. You want to go that much tight. Don't go too tight, or it'll go loose again, which is really bad.
Like Make that tight?
Sounds good. You just want it to be tight enough. There you go. The strut's pushing up. Son of a gun. We gotta take that strut out.
What?
We gotta take that strut out.
Why?
Or at least the top.
Why?
That strut plate. I'm not sure what this does, but we just forgot to put it in. I honestly don't know what it does. Like, why do you need it? That would just lower your car 1/8 of an inch. But there's got to be a reason for it. So, all we'll do is loosen them here and pull it down and slide the plate in and put it back up. Not a big deal.
Does the other one have one?
Yeah, it's still on the... Wait, or is this for that one? This might be for that strut. Hold on. Oh, no, it's right there.
It's already...
Yeah.
Wait.
Both of these have that same plate. They're there for a reason. I don't want to not put them in there. It probably strengthens the plate up here. It's not a big deal. We just have to loosen those 3 bolts and just push down.
I got him to... No.
No, we'll do it later. The mosquitoes are getting bad. I want to tighten this up and get away from the mosquitoes. There we go. Okay, so that's back in. So let's clean up our tools. You can close the trunk latch for right now. We'll have to do this tomorrow or whenever we have a non-rain day. We came inside because the mosquitoes are just getting awful. It's getting towards the end of the season and the mosquitoes are just murderous. So, look at your to-do list that we started before we did anything. Where are we at? So you have clutch.
Yes.
Done.
Yes.
Engine and trans mounts.
All in.
Done, except for the ones I'm going to make. But you can still drive it with what we have.
Yes.
What does that say?
That's cradle repair, but we got...
Oh, cradle repair. Done,
completely new
replaced. So hold on, I want black. So done, done, done. Cut springs. Probably not going to happen.
Two coilovers.
Not going to happen this year. So I'm not going to worry about it. New wheels. Why is that on a to-do list?
Because we to-do'd it.
Well, but that's not normally on a to-do list, but I guess
we
okay.
to-do'd it.
So new wheels are on it. New radio. You have it. We will try to get that installed. Fix exhaust. That's not done yet because we haven't gotten that far yet, but it will be. So what we need to do from what we did now is the...
Brakes.
Well, hold on. To get it to finish up to the point where we can get it on the ground again, we need to fix that broken brake line that we broke. So brake line. And then we have the strut plates.
Right side strut.
Well, I'll just write struts finish. Because we need to do a strut plate on the one side and fix the strut on the other side. So struts finish. Check all the engine mount bolts. Because I know some of them are loose still.
Is it the front right and front left?
We're just going to check them all. We're going to go through. I have paint markers. We'll paint marker every single one. We'll tighten it, paint marker, tighten it, paint marker. That way we know we have all of those done. It's just the ones that are accessible that aren't tight. Because everything else that was not going to be accessible, I tightened. Check engine mounts. Check cradle bolts. Because again, I know the back two we need longer bolts on. They're in, but we need longer ones. And again, we'll paint everything as we do it. Check cradle bolts. That's what we need to do to get the car
on the ground.
Well, that's what we need to do before we even get the car down all the way. Like, that's just things we should probably do next. Because then we can move on to the next step, which is brake. Oh, wait, we need to fix the brake line. Oh, I have that. Okay. So then we need to put the brakes back on. And then you can put the bodywork back on. And again, I would run with the old taillights for right now till we get it all, make sure it's all fixed. We don't have to take it all apart again. Once we know that everything's good,
put the new taillight
we can put the new lenses on. Bodywork. Oh, we need to mount all the brackets. We have no shift brackets, no clutch brackets.
Yes, that would be...
All those have to be installed. So,
yes.
Shift cable brackets, the ones that I took off the transmission, it's like 4 bolts. It should be pretty simple to put back on. Shift cable brackets, and then clutch slave. And then there's some wiring we got to plug back in. that's what we're looking at needing to get done, and then the exhaust will be in there when we get that far. We already have that on the list here. So this is what we need to probably focus on immediately so we can have this part done, because that gets us to the point where we can do all of this here. The brakes. I mean, you can start doing the brake stuff. If Kobe can give you a hand with brakes,
Yeah.
we can start getting the brakes put back together. Those won't be in the way. But we have one brake line that we broke after moving it around too many times. It broke right at the fitting, so I'm just going to undo it. And of course, it's the one furthest from the junction block. So I'll just take it off of the junction block, buy a section of line, and we'll just rebend a new piece of line in there, and it'll be fine. Looks like the other side was already replaced once, so it'll be good to have brand new brake lines in the back end. They just bleed the brakes like normal, and la-di-da. I will get the strut bolt that we need tomorrow, and try to get the, well, I can get this stuff tomorrow. It's supposed to be raining. It's supposed to be raining all day tomorrow, so tomorrow's going to be a wash for doing anything. This weekend, well, let's if we can get a hand from Kobe, let's shoot for this weekend. Maybe buttoning up a good portion of at least this list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why we can't get into getting the brakes put back on completely,
and
maybe the bodywork put back on.
Bodywork I can do myself.
And the shift cables I took off, so I can put those back on because I know exactly where they go. So we can start getting those things lined back up again. That will be the plan for the next step of this, putting the car back together, and then we can see if the clutch works after all this. Because if it doesn't work, going to the scrapyard.
That would be unfortunate.
Going to the scrapyard. Garbage.
I don't know what else we'd have to fix.
Garbage. We throw it away.
No.
Yes.
I already named it.
I'll burn it to the ground. We'll get insurance on it and burn the thing to the ground.
We still need to put that on to get a title for it.
Oh, get the title transferred.
Yeah.
Let's put that in big.
Yeah, with exclamation points and stars and all that.
Title transfer. There we go. Okay, we will see you guys in the next day or two. Yesterday night we worked on Annabelle. Her wheels are back on. I think you may have to adjust the camber on that one just a little bit, possibly. And then this one's way off. We definitely have to adjust the camber on this one. It'll kick the wheel back in. We will take it, get it aligned, but we can at least make it drivable if we loosen it and let it rock back inward. Sam's putting the rear fascia back on. We're starting to work on that today, and hopefully when he's done with that, we can get the exhaust put back in and start this up. I ran through the gears yesterday once I had everything in, because this is all back in here. Ran through the gears. It felt, like I said, not running, but just dry. And it felt good. Everything felt like it was engaging well, but again, it felt like that before we took it apart. So once he's done out here with this, we'll get the exhaust put back in and hopefully start it back up. So I'm going to do something I have never done before. I'm going to attempt to try it. We're going to shoot 2 videos at one time, kind of just skipping back and forth, because I wasn't going to build, the plan was to build a custom exhaust for this car, but then I'm like, let's just get it back together and see if it works before we build a custom exhaust. But then I was looking at his muffler, and his muffler that was on it does have holes in it. So I'm like, let's just build a custom exhaust and get it done and be good. So Sam and Kobe are going to start working on getting the rear fascia back on. Actually, Kobe's just going to help him get one piece on. Sam says he can finish it up after that. And then Kobe and I are going to start fashioning the custom exhaust system. We went out and just bought a muffler for it. A Thrush Turbo. We got a Thrush Turbo for it. We're going to try to install and kind of make a some kind of a custom exhaust system for it. So I'll come in and out on what Sam's doing, but I'm also going to be shooting an episode on the muffler at the same time, or the exhaust at the same time. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to play out on YouTube, but we'll see. So these guys are working on getting this last plate in and locked down, and Sam can finish putting the rear fascia back on. And get all the rest of the clips in and stuff like that. And that will essentially finish out this part of the car, and then it really is just get the exhaust back on. Okay, what's up? What's going on?
Those bolts, they just keep spinning.
Okay.
So we might just need to take a tack on each side of the bolt and just tack it.
Can you get? Oh wait, I actually on from the bottom.
Yeah. Because it has that plastic piece that doesn't.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah, so clean them up a little bit and tack them in there so they don't move.
I don't even know if you need to clean them. Just
Oh, go ahead, go do some bzzz. So they're kind of stuck on that for a second. Sam is at work, and the car is still up on blocks, but we're very close. Went through the list here of the to-do things that we did, and the last one we had was to do the body work, which he's done, other than the taillights, but he has new taillights coming, so I'm not concerned about that. We can put the old ones back on. And the last thing was to fix the exhaust. If you watched last week's episode, you saw us build and install this exhaust. That completes his list, which means the only thing that we're doing before we take it down that I wanted to do was change the transmission fluid. When we were working on it and we were moving it around and we dumped it out a million times, the trans fluid came out red. And where I do know that there is red manual transmission fluid, I'm concerned this is ATF. Where it won't hurt the synchros and stuff, it may not give it its best possible shift. This does call for synchro mesh trans fluid. So just finished draining out all the red fluid. I'll put the drain plug back in, and then I will put in, I think it's just shy of 2 quarts of the synchro mesh gear oil, and that will be it. We'll bring the car off the blocks and see what it does. We know it starts. We did start it just to hear what it sounded like once we put the tips on. We do know it starts and runs still. We still have yet to check the clutch and see if that works. So, yeah. Let me put the drain plug back in here, and I'm going to top off the trans fluid, refill the trans fluid, and then we'll get it off the blocks. been a few days since we worked on the Fiero, and I think the last thing we did was go over the list of things that had to be done, possibly. If not,
so.
I don't remember exactly where we left off, but we did have a list of things that we needed to get done. We did fix the brake line.
Yep.
We got the struts finished and put in.
We did.
I think we're going to definitely have to get an alignment. We checked the engine mounts and checked all the cradle bolts, and those were all tight.
Those are all good.
Got the brakes to go in. The caliper, which is, they're kind of strange because they are a emergency brake, so they've got the piston that like, locks in and does the emergency brake things, and these are kind of weird on that. Let's see. Shift cable brackets got put in. The clutch slave got put in. Plugged in all the harness plugs. And if you watched the last week's episode and the beginning of this episode, you saw that we did finish the exhaust. So yeah, this entire list got done.
Yeah.
And you know what that means?
Get to start it up.
No.
Oh. Did you do it again?
We get to do it all again, because I am 99% sure I put the clutch plate in backwards, so the car does not go into gear. It starts and it runs like you heard at the beginning of the episode, but after all of the work we just did to get it put back together, you cannot disengage the clutch. No matter what you do, it'll go into gear when the car is off. You can go switch through all the gears, but when the car is running, you cannot disengage this clutch. And I did some research on it, and it sounds like this clutch plate can go in backwards. And if that isn't true the case, I did look at the clutch plate and tried to find any indication that I was putting it on correctly, and I was 90% sure I did. I don't know if you'll see that on the next episode, where we're just going to do a time lapse of removing everything we just did and swapping the clutch and seeing if it works, and maybe we'll be driving it, or if it'll be a couple episodes from now, because I got some stuff that I'm working on Ruby. They got a couple episodes coming out on her as well, so it may be some Ruby episodes till we get back to the Fiero, but that's where we are. And sometimes that's what happens. You finish your list and realize something at the beginning you did wrong, and it's all got to come back apart again. So back up and blow it all apart and do this all again. At least everything's fixed now this time. So thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope everybody has a great week.